All right, it is no fritter February. And when I say fritter, I don't mean a fried tasty thing, except this is going to be a cooking video. I mean, no wasting your money. So, I want to make some biscuits and sausage gravy. And I'm going to make a special batch of sausage biscuits and gravy because I splurged about a week ago and bought some real butter. So I got my milk, which is just barely still good. It expired. It expired on January 26th. Yikes. It is February 1st. I can't believe it's not rancid yet. This one is good until February 4th. So I've got 2 of these. And I'm hoping to use up the last of the little bit of this one today with my biscuits and my gravy. I got this from the food pantry several weeks ago. My food pantry milk this week wasn't any good. It had a foreign object in it and it was leaking. I have 240 grams of flour. And I got 249 in here. I'm going to get a fork. All right, I need 6 tablespoons of cold butter. I had an epiphany when I thought about doing this today. The last time I did this, I did it on the table, which was fine, but it really kind of left me with a very doughy mess to deal with. And I don't want that this time, and I will show you I'm using butter. So I have a real treat today. Real biscuits with real butter. This should be even better than the last one I did. And I need 6 tablespoons of this. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all but 2. So all I'm going to do is notch it, and then I'm going to do this. And it has to be cold butter, not melted, not room temperature, cold butter. Glad I'm using a butter knife. I would have got myself good. This finger was in the way and I didn't realize it. Alright, so now you want to mix all this butter in this flour. And the way I like to do it is with a fork and a knife. Now you can buy a pastry cutter if you want, but I didn't have good luck with the one that I bought because once I used it a couple of times, it could no longer be cleaned. And I still have it. I saw it the other day, but it can't be cleaned. It's got gunk up in the corners, and no matter what you do, you can't get it out. So, I'm just going to do it like this. And the goal is to just get the butter real mixed in to the dough. And a lot of recipes say, make it until it looks like fine coarse cornmeal. Well, have you ever seen coarse cornmeal? Because all I've seen is fine ground, like the kind you make cornbread out of. But what you're trying to do is just mix it in until it's all clumpy. And kind of like every butter has its own, or every flour has its own little bit of butter. There we go. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get your butter mixed in until every little flour has a little butter. And this is about done, I would say. So this is what it looks like. I'll show it to you, and I'm going to start adding baking soda, baking powder, and salt. Some salt. And I'm going to add some, oh, there it is. Well, that's interesting. I didn't realize I had my baking powder on the table. And this takes 5 tablespoons, so this is quite a bit. There's a baking powder. I think it was 5 teaspoons. Who knows? Alright, here's the baking soda. Which is basically another salt product. Sodium bicarbonate, I think, is what this is. Yep. So the salt, baking powder, and baking soda are in here. And the next thing we're going to do is add the milk. But I'm going to pause because I need to roll the biscuits out down here. And that table's a disaster, so I need to clean it. Alright, it is time to add the milk. And I think it's supposed to be like 1.5 to 2 cups of milk. But I'm just going to eyeball it because the minute it pulls together, you're done adding milk. And you don't want it to be too sticky, but you don't want it to be too dry either. Kind of an interesting balance. I think this is just about perfect. You don't want to mix your dough too much or you will have very tough biscuits. Now, maybe just a little bit more. All right, that looks perfect. So I'm going to dry this off, and then I'm going to rinse it off, and then I'm going to dry it off, and we'll be ready to cut the biscuits. Press out the biscuits and cut them. And I do have a biscuit cutter, but you can use anything. You can use a coffee mug or a glass. You can use anything that is round. Or I guess it doesn't even have to be round. It just has to be deep enough that you can cut biscuits with it. Done cleaning this table. And I'm going to move you onto the surface that I'll be cutting the biscuits on. And working with biscuits and dough and stuff like that, you want to make sure that your hands are clean and that your surface is very, very clean. Because your dough will pick up shit. So, alright. I don't need the fork or the knife anymore. So we're going to get this dough out of here. And now I'm going to knead it one-handed, just in case I was wrong about the consistency. I was wrong about the consistency. Sprinkle a little flour on here. I can get a hold of the dough bag. Or flour bag, I guess it is. All right. So this is good. I just don't want it too sticky. We want this to be about a 1/2 inch high. Then you're going to take your biscuit cutter, biscuit cutter or glass or whatever you've got, and you're going to make biscuits. 1 biscuit, 2 biscuits, 3 biscuits, and I don't think I'm quite going to get that 4th one. But these, the first biscuits you cut, are always the best. They're going to be the tenderest, the flakiest, the most delicious. because every time you mix the dough again, you toughen it up. Again, we're gonna squish it down to about a 1/2 inch and try and get 2 biscuits out of it, but it's not quite gonna happen. Last time I did this, it made 6 biscuits. So I got 4 so far. And this is number 5. And I don't know if I'm going to get that 6th one. We'll see. Well, I just might, just barely. Yep, just barely got that 6th biscuit. Alright, so 1 batch makes 6 biscuits. So let me get my tray and we'll bake these. Getting my tray ready. Right there. Get a little foil. This is non-stick foil. I like using it because it is non-stick. So, we'll put the biscuits on the tray, and then I'm going to put the tray in the toaster oven. And 6 biscuits is all that fits on my tray. Right there. And I'm going to put these in the toaster oven. Now, here's where things get interesting. I just washed my spatula, but I'm not going to wash the skillet that I mixed the biscuits in. Why? Because that is the same ingredients that go into the sausage gravy. So why am I going to wash the skillet? I'll show you the biscuits here in a minute. I couldn't make pastries and stuff like that in my last toaster oven because it was rounded. But I do mine at 330 for 30 minutes and it's preheating. And there they are in there. So now I'm going to do the gravy. I gotta turn on my fire again. I had it on, and then I realized it was just taking me forever to get the biscuits done, so I turned it off. Man, I'm excited. Those biscuits are going to be amazing. I like the ones I cooked a few weeks ago, but they were made with margarine. I really enjoy them a great deal. When I have a little bit of butter. It's just crazy the crap that this economy makes unaffordable. And the little biscuit bit is in here too. I'm going to put that on the stove. I'm going to put the rest of this butter in. And then I'm going to put some margarine in as well. Actually, I've only got a little bit of margarine as well, so I'm going to put this little bit of margarine in. The whole thing. That may be a little greasier than it needs to be, but it'll be all right. And I need my sausage. This is the sausage that I cooked up a bit back, and I'm just going to dump some in. This is why I do this, folks. It just makes it real easy. But like I said, the one thing you don't get with this is that you don't get to use the sausage grease for this. How much of this sausage I want. It'll be a little difficult getting it out. Alright, I think that's plenty. Yeah, I think that's good. And I'm going to put a little onion in here too. I like onion in my sausage gravy. So I think I've got some chopped onion in here. Yes, I do. Put a little onion in here too. Alright, yeah, that'll be good. am out of black pepper because every time I go to the store I seem to forget to get it. But I'm completely out of pepper. I keep meaning to get some, and it just doesn't seem to be happening. It's alright, I got other tasty spices I can put in here. Alright, let me show you what it looks like. There it is. And I'm going to work this around, try and get all that flour and stuff off the edges of the pan. I need to get some salt. I need some salt. I need some onion powder. I need some garlic powder. You know what? We'll do some red pepper flakes. And I'll do some paprika. I guess I'll show you what the spice mix looks like. There it is. Spices and butter. And I'm going to stir this around. The goal here is to not burn the flour that is on the edge of the pan while heating up everything else. The other plus side to not washing the pan prior to making gravy is that cooking gravy in this will make the pan a lot easier to clean because the gravy will soak up everything that's in the pan. It wouldn't surprise me if that's how gravy was invented. Somebody got tired of scrubbing out the pan for, 10 days straight and decided to put some water in there, and then they accidentally tasted it and was like, hey, there's some gravy. All right, this is turning out kind of interesting. This is very interesting. And I'm going to add just a little bit of flour in here. Probably more out of habit than anything else. Not sure I'm going to need very much. Since I had that dough ball in there and just the leftover biscuit stuff from the biscuits. Okay, this is looking good. I'm just chopping up the sausage a little bit smaller with the spatula. Wow, this is so cool. This is so cool. All right, check this out. Look at that. I'm going to start adding the milk. I can't believe I'm still using this milk. Crazy. Although I always thought the dates on this Dutch Farms milk were a little bit light because they only put like a week date on it. Every time I see it, it's only got about a week on it, maybe 10 days at the most. And I tasted it again to see if it was still good, because it was good for my coffee this morning, but being so far past the expiration date, you just don't know. That's the other reason I wanted to use to make this, because I really need to use up the milk. And it expired like a week ago. I can't believe it's still good. If it were Prairie Farms or something like that, it would have been rancid the day before the expiration date. Alrighty. Man, I'm excited. This is going to be some good stuff. This is going to be amazing. Alright. Hopefully this will be the end of this milk. At least I'm going to make sure it's the end of that milk. There we go. My gosh. All right, I got it. I finally used up the entire container of milk. I'm going to stir this up. And then I'm going to Well, I'm going to stir it up in an effort to try and get the rest of this stuff off the pan, and then I am going to raise the fire. Oh, I might have leftover gravy on this one. Alright, it is time to turn up the fire. And just stir it all around until it starts to thicken. I think some thyme would be good in this. And I'm just going to stir it until it starts to boil and thicken. You know what I didn't put in my biscuits? Sugar. The recipe that I use calls for sugar, but I didn't add any. I don't know why you would need it. There's no yeast in it anyway. It's getting hot because the flour is trying to start sticking on the bottom. That's kind of why you have to keep stirring it. And it works best if you have a spatula with slots in it. This is taking a minute. I don't normally make this much gravy. I usually make about half to 3/4 this much. Oh, I was going to tell you what time it is, but I have no idea. It seems like it should be just about noon, but it's probably about 12:30. Well, it's finally starting to thicken up. Well, it might be. Oh yeah, it's just now starting to boil. Excellent. So I'm going to stir this just a little bit. And then, how much time do I have left on the biscuits? 7 minutes. That's perfect. Alright, so I'm going to turn the fire off before it boils over. And I'm going to keep stirring it for just a minute. And it will continue to thicken while it cools. Whoops. A little too overzealous there. The pan is very, very full. Alright. I'll be back in 7 or 8 minutes when the biscuits are done. Alright, they are almost done. Check that out. 20 seconds left. Those look really, really good. I went ahead and washed a bowl. I was not going to be able to get that plate clean. I would have had to boil some water and dumped it on that plate. So let me get the biscuits. Check those out. But anyway, what I was going to say was, 60, 70 years ago, homemade biscuits and gravy, where both of those things were made from scratch, was not a treat. The treat was buying biscuits and already cooked gravy at the grocery store and not having to fuss with it. It's amazing how things change and how opposites become, the norm, or maybe not the norm. Because these days, what I just did, making homemade biscuits and gravy, who does that? I mean, if your grandparents are still alive, maybe they do this for Sunday dinner and you all get together for Sunday dinner. And if you don't do that, I encourage that you do it. But let's check it out. I just need one of these biscuits. I think I'll go with this one. There's water under the bowl because I just washed it. Oh man, that looks amazing. I guess I'll break it open and show you what it looks like on the inside. It's very, very soft. This must have been one of the first ones I did. So, it didn't rise very much. At least this one didn't. I may have had them too wet. Here it is. Right there. And then I've got my gravy, which is a little thin for my liking, but it's still sausage gravy. So we'll pour some sausage gravy on there. And it's a little thinner than I want it to be. It'll probably thicken up the more it cools. It's still pretty hot. That is still perfectly edible. I'm going to put some butter in there and Yeah, I think I will get some butter or margarine or something. Margarine. I'll just throw some margarine in. And then I will taste it. So let's see what this tastes like. It's probably hot. It is steaming. Oh, but it is amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't put very many onions in there, but the onion flavor really adds a level to it. That's amazing. All right, folks. As always, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.